Good morning, dear friends and family. So it is resurrection. It is the day of the first fruits offering of the year today, the day of the Omer, and I just wanted to share some of my thoughts with you about this. God's put, as always this year, God is putting some different things on my mind, and I just thought I would share them. So this morning, as I started meditating on first fruits and on Yeshua's resurrection, the thought that came to my mind, differently than other years, is why is first fruits and Passover separated? I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I feel like in my mind, I've always connected the two together, like they were one event, with the big overarching label of salvation. And this morning, I just started realizing, why did God put days between them? God does nothing, there's nothing that's a coincidence. And so I started chewing on that and praying about that, and he told me something. He told me that while they are a unity, and they do go together, they are also unique events, standalone unique events within this big unity. So think about the children of Israel sitting down at Passover, putting the blood of the lamb over the doors. And they were, that night, saved from the angel of death. It was a salvation from death. And it was a full salvation from death in that event. And then they walk out of Egypt. And actually, while they're walking, they're still in the territory of Egypt. They're still in enemy territory. And it is not scriptural, it does not say for certain, but tradition, and it makes sense to me that the crossing of the Red Sea was very likely also on first fruits, on the day of the Omer, which is also the day that Yeshua rose from the dead. And I asked him, okay, so if Yeshua's death, his blood, is the salvation from death, just as the Passover lamb symbolized salvation from death, what is his resurrection? What was coming out, going through and coming out of the Red Sea? And I feel like God told me that is a whole other type of salvation. It is a salvation unto life. There is a salvation from death, but there is also this salvation, this baptism into life. He doesn't just want to save us from death, guys. That's not enough. That's not enough. He wants to save us and bring us into life. When they crossed that Red Sea, when the waters came back down and it killed the Egyptian army, that was a full salvation from their past life. Like, this is done. Your choice is made. You are walking out with me into relationship, into life. And I think when we do baptism ourselves, that's what it symbolizes. It's not just that God saved us from death, and I don't want to minimize that. It is a huge thing that God saves us from death, from spiritual death, but there's so much more to it. Yeshua was the first fruits that came into this life, and that's what he desires for us, is a salvation, a redemption into life, away from the past of Egypt. After they were saved at Passover, they still walked in Egypt, in enemy territory. It was all around them. It would have been very easy to turn and return. But once they went through that Red Sea, the baptism of that Red Sea, and came out on the other side, Yeshua came out of the grave, it was new life. So, those are my meditations today. I hope it blessed you. Don't just look to be saved from death, my friends. Look to be brought into life.